Now we're doing a 3-term DCF, and this is where it's going to get a bit more complicated. Same thing though, we're going to undertake DCF analysis. It's a 2-story office building, and we're selling it at the end of year 6. So what do we know to do already?
6 years. Delete the 8
Yeah, we still need year 7.
Yeah.
So we can delete all of the stuff that's in year 8 and 9. We don't need that. What else have we got? So we've got a ground floor tenancy. Let's just go through building up what we need. We've got a ground floor tenancy. We've got, and that's got gross rent. We've got a first floor tenancy, and we've got a second floor tenancy. Building outgoings are 24,000 per year. And let's assume that because ground floors gross, first floors gross, and the second floor's net. So the second floor is going to recover outgoings. In the outgoings, it says assume all floors are equal. So I think we can assume that they're just recovered in equal portions. So we know for, let's just say, ground floor. We're going to have gross income for that. And I mean, if you wanted to, we could put recoverable outgoings, but it would just be 0, but let's not worry about that. There's the first floor tenancy. And that's going to have gross income. And then the second floor tenancy. So that's going to have net income, because it's a net lease. And then it's also going to have recoverable outgoings. Yeah? And then we're going to have less. Let's just call it total building outgoings. So we know that's all the kind of income we're going to have. So the question's not going to ask us to calculate the acquisition value for this, so we can just delete that. We're not going to use that. This is just saying what's the value that we would be prepared to pay. So what are the different capital items we're going to need to account for here? Yeah.
Vacancies.
Vacancies.
Equal maintenance.
So where's the vacancy? So let's just say
the incentive, so it'll be the first 6 months. First floor and second floor.
so first floor, new 3-year lease at 35,000. Second floor's a new 2-year lease. 5-year option period, and review to market, annual reviews of 3%. So if I'm just going through this, what's the first one? Ground floor is a new 9-year lease, but there's a rent-free period of 12 months. Like I'd start kind of from the You start from the bottom and build up. So the first one would be ground floor and rent-free period. Is there any kind of capital required for first floor tenancy? So it's a new 3-year lease at a rental of 35,000. There's no option period.
Leasing fee.
Leasing fee,
That'd be for all, you do it for all of them, right? As it says.
I would say if they're new, it's already been paid.
Leasing fee's already paid.
Yeah, for ones that are new leases, they're already in, we've already been paid.
So that's agent leasing fees, so that'd be expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so critical thing on that is think about the time. So we're doing a 6-year model.
Yeah.
We've got first floor and ground floor's 9-year lease. So that's gonna post-date the end of this model.
Yeah.
First floor's a 3-year lease with no option. So the first floor tenancy may or may not have a vacancy after 3 years. Should we assume that there's a vacancy or not?
For the last 6
Oh,
months.
do we? Where?
Yeah, it's.
But the question is whether or not we're going to assume that
You put it in or not?
we'll put it in or not. Because we have no information at this stage with the first floor.
Yeah.
There's no option period, but they might just sign a new lease anyway. Let's assume they don't. Let's assume that we need to fill it again. Fun to go through the exercise. So, are we assuming incentives are rent-free periods? Doesn't say anything for it, does it?
It says the last 6 months including.
Right, okay, yeah, all right. That's just vacancy plus incentive.
You wouldn't split that out.
We don't have the information, so it just says 6 months vacancy and incentive. And then what else would we need if that's being released? Yeah. And so then, second floor tenancy? So what about the second floor tenancy, is there anything there?
Got 2 years, it's got rental fees.
2-year lease,
Option to renew.
it's got an option though, the 5-year option.
Do you apply percentage for the release?
You could. You could. If you're 2 years out, you might, although it's a new 2-year lease, you probably, you wouldn't exactly know, but
So why are we putting a leasing fee if it's a new lease?
sorry?
If it's a new lease, why?
Because if it's already, like if it's a new lease but it's in place, it would have been paid already.
So how would we word it otherwise if there was a leasing fee involved?
Oh, like we'd say, like a new lease with an outstanding lease.
Okay.
You'd specify that.
Yeah, yeah. It's safe to assume that like leasing fees will only be on future releasing.
Okay, but on options, you pay a rental fee.
You can pay
Is that
a,
a thing?
it's not that you're necessarily paying a leasing fee
Yeah.
if they renew it.
If they really don't do.
Yeah, but you might, well, sometimes you'll have to.
Really?
Yeah,
Recontracts.
because they're still like helping you, they'll still try and help you renegotiate, like not renegotiate, but sell the dream to keep them to, get them to renew the option.
Really?
Yeah. It's a discounted fee though, like, so it's not the same.
Okay.
Because it's a benefit, it's still a benefit to the landlord.
Yeah, but if the lease has already been signed,
Yeah.
and you've already like got them signed up, is it just then?
But there's no term certain in an option.
But isn't it then negotiations between like the landlord? Like, I don't understand whether an agent kind of fits into that.
Because they'll still, like an agent will still get back involved and try and help.
But what if you just tell them to, you know,
they'll still get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're a it doesn't matter if you're a land, if a leasing fee's 13% and on an option renewal it's 7%, I'd still rather get the option renewed, give you 7%, than have it fall over, have it vacant, pay new incentive, and then go and pay that commission at 13%. So it's,
But if the tenant's gonna re-sign, I don't, like, do you think that the agent really plays much of a fighting like getting them to re-sign?
they'll say they do, and
Yeah.
you can argue with them, but
Okay.
you still end up
I
paying.
always find a way to
Yeah.
wedge into a deal.
Yeah.
So second floor, because it's a good point, so we don't know if it's actually, if they're going to renew or not, but in this, we'll make a probability weighting, we'll say like, there's a 50% chance that they do. Which means there's a 50% chance that it's vacant, needs incentives and needs maintenance.
If you're trying to model that, would you just get 50% of what you get?
50% of what the potential vacancy cost would be and 50% of what the agent's fee would be.
Would you put that as an assumption?
Yep. So what other capital items do we need?
CapEx.
Yep. CapEx. Was there anything else? Terminal value?
Disposal costs?
Yep. And disposal costs. So that's everything we would need. So then we just need to put a door there. So, ground floor tenancy. What's the gross income? 60,000? Yep. So, for this, we've got, let's put that as an assumption. I'm gonna do this, yeah. So we've got rent increases of 4%. So that means here, we can do last year's rent times open brackets 1 plus that linked to that 4%. And if you hit F4, you'll lock that cell. Everyone got that? So when you lock the cell, it means when you copy that formula across, it'll keep that reference. Close brackets. And so now we can just copy and paste that and come across. We need to update our total formula because this was from the last spreadsheet. It's picking up the excess rows, so let's bring that back to year 6. You should have 397,000.
Can you click on the YouTube one?
So it's just for last year's income, times 1 plus the 4% increase.
Are they maybe 2 years?
Good.
Also, that's a good, that's one of the other ones.
F4.
You might press function.
Yeah, you might say.
Command T.
Community box.
Okay, so we all got that gross income for the first floor, the ground floor. What about the first floor tenancy?
Oh, no, press
That's a 3-year deal.
level 5.
3-year deal, no option, and the reviews are set at greater or 5%.
So what's it actually called?
The greater of CPI or 5%.
What are we assuming CPI's on it?
What we want to assume? For the purpose of this, let's say, because we'll be building a formula that's going to be, I think it'll lose a few people if we do that. So let's assume it's just going at 5%.
Ah, 6 years.
Total down. So, what was it, 35,000?
Yep.
And then it's 3 years. So it's that same formula. It's that times 1 plus that 5% increase. And it goes for 3 years.
There's your modelling that you work
Oh,
on.
sorry, that's 4 years.
Does the modelling you work on allow you to specify in another tab how many years that should go in the cash flow?
Okay. So after your 3 years, there's no option. What are we going to do there?
Letting up through.
Yeah, but remember, let up like vacancy, that's all adjusted down below the line.
So half income.
No, like we're at this point up above, we're assuming it's everything's 100% market, then we adjust below the line. So let's just assume at that stage,
So you need market.
yeah, let's just assume markets is like 40,000.
And where it's not provided, you would just.
Make an assumption, and I would put, just for the sake of getting like marks in your assignment, notes.
Everything is assumed.
Easier to just put it down the bottom. Again, like you want to make it, so someone's just kind of reading it on a screen, they don't have to kind of look in. I would say no. First floor, assume market in year 4 equals 4,000. And we'll say with 5% reviews. So we'll keep the same review structure, because then we can just copy that formula across after that 40,000. So we've all got that? Okay. Second floor. What's the net income? 27,000.
2 years less.
Yep. And what's the reviews?
Market.
3%.
Market on option, then 4%.
So this one's fixed rental of 27,000 per annum. Review provision to market on exercise of option with annual reviews of 3% thereafter.
So after 5 years.
It's after,
Up to 2 years.
yeah, so it's actually 2 years just at 27,000.
And market.
We go to $30,000.
And then, yeah, let's assume market's $30,000 at that stage.
Should we do another note?
Of course, we'll do another note. Second floor, assume market in year 3. Sorry? Yeah, if you're getting really into it, you would, like, you could format that as an input, or you could put like the input here and link it to there.
Are you recommending that?
But it's better. the more things that you can create as like inputs and just have automatically calculated, the better. And then what reviews do we have here? 3%. So it's 30,000 there, and then so equals that times 1 plus 3%, lock it, and then copy that across. And we need to copy our total formula down. So is everyone at 179,500? So that cash flow is 27 and 27 because it's fixed for the first 2 years. We've assumed market's 30,000, that it reverts to in year 3, and then it increases by 3% each year after that. Sorry? It's just 35,000 and it increases at the 5%. So it's got, the first lease is 3 years, and year 4, it has a market rent review, and we've just assumed 40,000. And then year 5 and the rest, we just assume that it's increasing to 5% again.
Can I see the note again?
The what?
The note, the bottom.
No.
Which one?
The notes.
Oh,
Assumption.
the note's just assumption, so I've just assumed first floor markets in year 4 is 40,000 and 5% reviews, and second floor market in year 3 is 30,000. So then we've got a net lease. We need to figure out what the recoverable outgoings are. How do we know what the recoverable outgoings are? Percentage of the total building outgoings, which kind of infers we need to figure out what the total building outgoings are. Yeah? So we know what are the total building outgoings?
24,000.
Yeah, $24,000. And they escalate 5% per year. And so then we're just doing equals that. Same thing. 1 plus that 5%, we'll lock it and copy it across. So your total building outgoings should get us a total of about 163,000.
Did you intend that as a negative $24,000 figure?
Yep. Everything's negative.
But then you didn't have to the other one, you just copy the negative over?
Yeah, it'll just, once you multiply it, it's negative over. So then we've said that all floors are equal size, so let's just assume that recoverables are on a size basis. So let's make that an assumption. And so then this tenancy share of outgoings is just 4 divided by 3. It's going to be a third. And so then the formula in this is just going to equal whatever the outgoings are for that year times their share, and then lock it against their share. And then copy that across. So then as the outgoings increase, it'll automatically pick up that increase as a part of their share.
Year 1.
It's just the outgoings times their share.
Can I see the formula again on the recoverable outgoing?
It's It's just the same as all the other ones. It starts at 24,000, and then every year it just escalates by 5%.
At 33.33.
Sorry?
At 33.33.
The 33%, that's just our assumption, and we've said that all of the floors are equal in size, so we're just giving them a 1/3 share each.
And did you point to the 33% for the 24,000, or you just calculated it in year one?
No, so it's linked to,
Yes.
so it's whatever the outgoings are for that year times the 33%,
Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
but I only lock the 33%, I don't link it to that, so then
Yeah.
as you move out, it's always linked to whatever the outgoings are in that year.
Yeah. You just find the less one and the right going for 33%.
Yeah. So then just make sure that our formula for net operating income, just make sure it's still capturing all of that. So, sorry, there's one thing. Recoverable outgoings, remember it's an income to us. So just put a negative in front of that. Recoverable outgoings are an income to us, so just put a negative in front. So I'll stop there. Has everyone got the net operating income at 705,000?
Yep.
Yep.
This one is assuming that the rent is paid annually and in arrears, right? So if you want advance, do we have to move forward the cash flows?
You'll get into like when you're modelling it properly, you end up modelling. You actually model it on a monthly basis, so you kind of avoid that, and you can use like XIRR formulas instead of like XIRR and XNPV instead of just IRR and NPV, which uses it on an actual allocation of dates, and you can set like beginning and end of period. But for the purpose of this, we're just assuming it's annually, and it's effectively in arrears.
So the XRR and XNPV is where you're going to
Gets a lot more detail because you're actually XIRR and XNPV. You need to give it. You need to give it for every cash flow. It needs to have an actual date.
Is that just like a day of default? It's
Yeah.
just like a cleanse?
Yeah. This will go on case. Don't stress. But it's going to be a lot more beneficial for you to go through and work building it up while we're doing this, because otherwise you'll see it on canvas. You're probably not going to go and try and do the assignment tomorrow. You're probably going to pick it up in a week or 2 weeks, and by then it won't make sense.
How long do you anticipate it to take to do the job?
Yeah.